Hi guys, welcome aboard. So now that we have finished doing a little bit of maintenance and we've cleaned up from the pigsty that our boat was, we thought that we would give you a little bit of a boat tour.
The Millennial Falcon is a 1981 Tayana 42 Vancouver centre cockpit. She weighs 29,000 pounds unloaded, which includes an 11,800 pound fully encapsulated cast iron keel. As the name would suggest, she is 42 feet in length with a 12-foot 6-inch beam and a 6-foot draft. She is a cutter rig with a 65-foot mast clearance and ample sail area for her displacement. She does not suffer from weather or lee helm in any conditions, and it is said that the staysail alone will provide balance in 40+ knots should the need arise. The Tayanas have an extremely comfortable motion and a reasonable turn of speed when underway, as demonstrated by anecdotal evidence and the design stats when compared to popular contemporary and modern counterparts.
Now let's go below and take a look around.
Alright, so this is our kitchen, our galley. In here we have a gas oven. There are two, we have three 20 pounds.
I'm not sure what the poundage is. It's your standard barbecue bottle.
Standard barbecue bottle. So we have 3 tanks in the back, and we switch them out whenever it runs out. But usually one of them will last us about 3 months. We have my spice rack in the back here. Lots of spices, which is quite cool. We have all the cutlery and things like that here. A little bit of pantry area. We have more glasses, plates, and then a little bit more pantry area too as we go onto these bits here. This is our freezer, which opens up from the top. Quite a bit of a beastly freezer. We also have our fridge as well. So we have the top section of our fridge, which you can open up here. And we also have a open drawer bit right here that we can open it up with as well. So there's 2 layers, 2 sides to the fridge. We have our bin here, and then our sink we have a foot pump water tap, and we also have a water pump tap as well, but we rarely kind of use the water tap one because we had a look at how much power it draws one day and we're like, let's just use the foot pump.
And we guzzle lots of water when you can just have it on a pump.
Exactly, yeah. Alright, then moving on to our lounge area. This is also more pantry area that we use in here, and you can also have, we store our beans and our cans and things like that in here as well. And I actually don't know what's in there. I think maybe sheets and just things that I didn't
Rags
know.
And covers and things.
Yeah, things that I didn't know
Dead
where
storage.
to find a home for. So we have 3 different options for our couch. So this is one option here, in which we often keep this kind of layout out when we're at sea, because if we ever just want to go up from our shift at night time, we can just flop down here. Although it is a little bit rolly, so we usually keep this one up. And movies as well, it's really, really good for movies. However, we can put this one away. It's not on sliders. And then we just kind of like leave this around because I'm not sure what to do with this thing. And you can have the couch area, which is a little bit more spacious. Then our third option is the table up. However, we don't often eat dinner at this table because it's more a kind of work productive table. If we have the table up, we feel more inclined to kind of work and actually do things at it. So occasionally it stays up. We did need to chop the corner off though, because we actually couldn't get past, and so whenever we were in there, one of us would always be stuck in there, or had to make a giant leap over this barricade here. There's lots of storage in here. This is our secret stash of the wines and the rums and the beers. Okay, then we also have another table here. However, when we did our chain plates, we got rid of the clip that holds this table up. So at the moment we're just attaching it with some bungee cord, which works alright. But behind here is a bookshelf. We've got lots and lots of books in here, and it goes back quite far. It's not very organised, and all those people who have OCD will hate me right now. Down here is where Adam keeps his kite surfing bag and kite surfing kite. In here is another bookshelf and more kind of like cruising guides and instructions for our engine and manuals and things like that. Then we have our maintenance cupboard here, which is actually quite big. You can see that it goes from from here to here. So you'll often find Adam kind of like reaching his whole body in there to try and find a tool or something of the sort. But it's actually a really, really awesome space to have. It's really pretty good. We're just going to skip the V-berth for now because you can see that it's an absolute tip in there. And we will secretly squirrel things into the rear of the boat when we go into there, and so you'll think it's nice and clean. However, the toilet's here. The front toilet is in there. I'll let you just peek in there. So in that toilet there used to be a shower, and there is still the hookup for the shower. However, it doesn't run at the moment, and we don't really feel a need to have 2 showers on board, so we haven't felt like we should hook it up either. But that's the toilet that we mainly use. Over here is our nav station. We have the radios, the other radio, and the third radio. And Adam will probably explain more about them. We have all of our breaker switches here, so if we need to do our windlasses and put our instruments on and stuff, we'll put that all here. We have a little space for our charts that all come down here. These actually came with the boat, so there's it actually goes back quite far. And I think we have a little secret hole at the bottom of there too, which I probably shouldn't have told anyone, because that's where we're going to keep secret things, like passports and things like that. This is where I keep pots and pans. My sewing machine is also at the bottom. And then a few pantry items up here as well. Again, this is probably about as deep as the maintenance cupboard, so it goes back quite far. Another cupboard here, which has, this one has our clothes, and then we have Tupperware boxes and a few things like that. If you come in here, though, is our bedroom. And I actually don't think I've ever seen it this clean. We have a hexagonal shaped bed, I'm going to say. It's a nightmare to change all of the sheets on this bed, so every time we do it, it's like playing Jenga or something. What's the game where you need to put like
Twister?
Twister, yeah. Every time I play, it's just like that. We have our wardrobes down here, so this is our folding space. We have also his and hers personal spaces as well. And there's another wardrobe in here, although it's a really, really small hanging up wardrobe. So we actually don't really put stuff in there. It's more kind of like life jackets in here and more safety kind of equipment, which is handy to have it close, I guess. Up here we also have our fishing rods. This is a pretty cool holder and came with the boat. Actually 1 or 2 fishing rods came with the boat, which is quite cool. Then onto our toilets, our shower here. Come on through. Turn the lights on. Alright, so separate toilet to the shower, and the shower is nice and spacious. Full shower. Window. So we have a cupboard here and a cupboard there, and that's it. Sink and everything. There's also a little hatch down here that gives us access to the engine of the boat, and also another hatch in the shower as well that also gives us more access to the engine. So lots of engine access. All right, so I think that is we'll just go show you the V-berth now, and we'll clean that one up. Okay, we've just done a ninja clean. And we've left a lot of stuff in there because you've already seen it dirty now, so there's not really any point in hiding much. So this is our V-berth in here. We have an awesome hatch here, which is pretty much half the size of the actual V-berth, which provides us heaps of wind, which is really good. So in here we have anchor well just there, that goes to our anchor locker. We have lots of storage in here, but this is where we keep our diving stuff, our snorkeling stuff, sorry. There's also another door here which goes to our bathroom. We have we're going to call this our project room, because every project that we want to do and we'll buy things for, we will keep it in here. We have our window sills that we need to paint, and we keep them in here. We have our anchor well, a floor to our anchor well that we need to make, and so we've got the wood and we keep it in here. There's lots of projects that we need to do, and we just keep all the material in here. So this at the moment is kind of like our project room.
So Khiara gave you the general tour, but I wanted to circle back and do a few more specifics regarding the systems that we have on board. So in the Galley, Khiara mentioned that we have 3 refrigeration systems. We have a shore power, shore assist compressor unit that's mounted in the engine bay and runs off the cold plates. There's 1 in the fridge box, 2 in the freezer box. Those same cold plates are run by a Seafrost engine-driven belt-powered compressor that's also jockey wheeling off the alternator circuit. And then on top of that, not wanting to run the engine all the time, very early in the piece I installed an isotherm VE 150 12 volt air cooler unit in the fridge box, which does a really great job of keeping the fridge cool. So we do lose freezer capability when we don't run the engine sort of twice a day for half an hour, but we haven't caught any fish yet, so it's really not a problem. We do have a water maker on board. It is I forget what it's called, an aquamarine. It does about 24 gallons an hour when it works. We've only ever seen about 18 gallons an hour for about an hour. I suspect there's a pressure switch issue. Anyway, it does work. This is the control head, and the reverse osmosis membrane is mounted in the shower that Khiara showed you earlier. And the compressor unit also runs off the engine, which is just behind here.
How much water do we have in our tank?
We have 2. Good, thank you for the question, Khiara. Very valid question. Under the floor here, there's 2 85-gallon water tanks, which is more than enough. We've lasted for 3 months on these water tanks, being pretty frugal, but we don't go through a lot. Behind that is the midships fuel tank, and under the V-berth in the bow is the bow fuel tank. And just under here, where you guys are currently standing / hovering, is the holding tank, which is about 60 gallons, I think. Can't quote me on that one. I'll subtitle in the correct value when I edit this later. What have I forgotten? So the engine has pretty great access also. We have a Yanmar 55 horsepower 4JH5E engine, which has about 3,500, 4,000 hours on it. It was checked quite thoroughly in the survey, and shy of our constant disappearing shaft issues, it purrs like a kitten and has run quite well ever since we've used it. Access is pretty good through this side hatch. For top level things, working on anything that's sort of below down in the bilge is quite a nightmare. Let me just show you.
Please don't lose my phone.
I will not lose your phone. I might lose her phone. So, there's the engine. She's in pretty good nick. And down there in no man's land is the bilge. And you may be able to see the bottom in this, but I doubt it. So it's reasonably clean. We do everything we can to keep it clean and dry. Getting a bilge pump and an auxiliary bilge pump down there is quite a pain in the backside. We have a 1500 watt inverter which lives under the bed where Khiara showed you earlier. That's more than enough to keep the laptops and things charged. We also have 2 100 watt solar panels on each of the safety lines, stanchions. I suppose they're mounted on a stainless steel tube strung between 2 stanchions. On each side of the boat, being a centre cockpit, there's no room above the bimini. Well, there wasn't before I put a hard roof on, but I may move them. There used to not be room, so we strung them up on the side, and they're doing pretty well there. There's also a KISS wind generator. I actually don't know how many watts that is, but it puts out anywhere from 2 to 15 amps when it gets up to a 20 knot blow, which is fantastic. So those 2 things working together can more than clear our energy. Here is our main battery bank. We used to have 5 AGMs in a house bank and 1 auxiliary AGM, Group 31 AGM. We now have 4 Group 31 AGMs and 1 wet cell cranking, well, partial, it's not a cranking battery, but it's our cranking battery. simply because it's extortionately expensive to buy Group 31 AGMs. So we opted to go one less. That gives us about 425 amp hours, which is more than enough with all the solar and the wind working. And now, so Khiara mentioned before, we have the VHF Standard Horizon. We have the battery selector switch. We have a SSB ICOM 718, which is opened up for marine frequency bands as well. And if I could ever get it working, we have a Pacta 2 LLE modem, which is opened up for Pacta 3 software. If that means nothing to you, please don't be upset. It means next to nothing to me as well. But essentially this is a modem that will allow us to send signals via the laptop, very simple emails and group files for weather, send and receive data like that via the modem through the SSB at the antenna to a pickup station, and then it will run through typical internet lines to the recipient. I'm having trouble getting drivers and connections because the laptops these days don't have I think it's a VGA connection. And so we've got the previous owner put in a USB step-down transfer case, and the drivers for them are very obscure and hard to come by, and I haven't got it working yet. I do, however, have a app on my iPad which can transcode weather facts through the SSB, and I also tune into a lot of the, I suppose you call it the scuttlebutt, on the SSB bands regarding weather in the Caribbean, which is extremely useful. And that might be all I have for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in with us, and we'll hope that you're enjoying our episodes, and we'll see you again for the next one.
And if we missed anything, or you have any questions, and you want to see something on the boat that we haven't showed you already, leave a comment below, or send us a message on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. All the links are down there. And yeah, we'll be more than happy to answer it. Yeah. Thanks for watching.